Unfortunately, it was a dark Christmas for more than 14,000 people without power in Washington state after vandals took out 4 power substations. Police have not arrested any suspects yet, but service has been restored to all those residents that were impacted. KTTH Seattle radio talk show host Jason Rantz joins us to discuss. Jason, I find this story really interesting because it can't be easy to not just vandalize, but to corrupt or take a power station and render it inoperable.
But that is the fact. It is actually easy. That's the unfortunate reality here, is that these are very much considered soft targets, that according to the reports, we don't really have too many details on the extent of the damage. We know that there was a fire. We do know that it was vandalized, and obviously, they delayed the repairs a bit, so it suggests that it was pretty significant. But it looks like they just cut through some fencing. And this is not the first time it's happened in the Pacific Northwest. About 3 weeks ago or so, we heard from law enforcement officials who basically were saying, hey, be on the lookout. We're getting more chatter online that this is a possibility that these substations are going to be targeted, and it doesn't appear that anything was actually done. And part of me wonders whether or not the damage here was extensive enough to have some of these power companies step up and actually provide the level of security that's absolutely necessary moving forward.
Well, and you said that they kind of warned folks, hey, we see this online. Do they have an idea of what groups? From my understanding, there's no propaganda out there of groups taking responsibility. So if they're sending a political message, it's mute. What do you think the motivation is, and who may be behind this?
Yeah, so they haven't given too many details traditionally, although not always. But traditionally, this is something that comes from far-right groups. But keep in mind, in the Pacific Northwest, we have far-right and far-left groups. And the intent is disruption. And when you go after our infrastructure, that's what you're doing. You're trying to disrupt everyday life, society, because you want to create that kind of chaos. So I'm assuming that they've got their eyes on particular groups. It doesn't appear that they even have any evidence, at least publicly, that they put out that these were coordinated. It seems hard to believe that they weren't coordinated, but they're being tight-lipped about this. So that either means they're completely in the dark, or they've got very specific targets, and they just don't want to tip them off.
With everything that's happened in the weather, people dying in the cold, up in the Northeast, this is just a heartless thing to do, to leave people without power. Whoever these groups are, I hope they're found. And like you said, such a great point. Why leave a soft target? I'm afraid of electricity, so I'm not going to do it. But if it's that easy, why leave it soft? Jason Rantz, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully they figured out who's doing this.
Thanks, Joey.